I really wanted the people to get to know the band as people and not just like, instruments.
Yeah.
And, what a great, if we have to use Zoom, we might
We're going to do it.
The force for good, right? Tell me your official name and your instrument.
Yeah, Victoria Wepler. Most people call me Vicky. And I play violin. I'm a violinist.
How many violins or instruments do you own?
Great question. So personally, I think I have 3 violins in the house. I would say I only play one of them. There is a second violin that's in dark times, it's there if you need it. And then there's another one that I think it was my very first full size. I have an attachment to it. It is not worth anything, but it's, sentimental value. So there's that. And then, we have guitars, and we have a banjo, we have a ukulele, we have, a number of random string instruments, I'll say. I think there's a cello downstairs. I could dust it off. And then we have I once upon a time, I no longer would ever claim this, but I once upon a time played French horn and trumpet. So I know those are lurking in the basement somewhere as well.
Did you major in music in college? Because I'm always surprised at the amount of people who actually did something else too.
I know, I did. I am one of those people. I majored in music. I went to a liberal arts college, went to Colby College, and I did music. Nice. Yeah, and the best thing about Colby was that music in all facets. I mean, you name it, you got to try early music, you got to try, 20th century. It was a blast. And I did a lot of singing and violin playing there. So I ended up with a senior recital for both voice and violin, which was really fun. And directed the handbell choir. I mean, why not? Tossing it in there. Yeah. So it was a fun
handbell choir.
Right?
They're such a blast.
When they work, they're great. They're fun. But music major and some Spanish tossed in there too.
So when did you start playing in pit for musicals?
Yeah, I was thinking back about this. I started in middle school and high school playing in pits, mostly because I happened to attend a high school that did fully staged musicals with high school pits, which I think sadly aren't as common anymore as they were when I was growing up. They're still obviously around, but a lot of people get hired in, which is what we also do. So there's that. But I got to play Camelot and
beautiful.
Yeah, and Oklahoma were my 2 big forays into, it definitely taught me a lot.
What a fortune. Those are 2 such great string orchestra arrangements. What do you find intriguing about playing in pits? What's fun about it that's different than any kind of regular symphony or chamber music gig?
Sure. I think it's such a roller coaster ride. And I have to tell you, I'm not a fan of roller coasters. I don't like them. I get sick. But this is the roller coaster I would want to go on 1,000 times over. There are moments where you are completely relaxed, and then there are moments where you are at such a heightened level of adrenaline, and it's like the silence right before you're about to, frankly, make the show continue. There's such a responsibility, there's such a tension there, but it's also such a ride. I mean, it really takes you. Every show I've done, I feel like there's this ride you're on, and there's really nothing else like that. Even when I play in orchestras and you do pieces that take you on a ride, for sure. Mm-hmm. But when you do a show that from start to finish, the minute the lights go down, the minute, the conductor is ready to start the show, you're in it. You're not moving anywhere. You're not doing anything else. It's a ride. It's so fun. I think about that going back to Ragtime, because Ragtime is no joke. That's like a crazy show. It's a ride, and it's also like pay attention ride. Okay. Like pay attention. Yeah. And I thought to myself, like, oh, sweet young Vicky would have been fine doing some other stuff. Vicky, this age that I am in current mental status, was like, there can be nothing else I must be solely engaged. Do not look at any, it was so intense. And I think age and also full-time job, kids, all that stuff factors into my brain now, where before it was like, oh, the music, that'll be fine, and I'll get this other stuff done. There's no way now I could compartmentalize anything but a show.
No, and on the stand for me as the music director, I'm just terrified that I'm going to miss a dialogue cue or something. I can't have distractions, because it'll just poof me by and I'll miss a cue, and then it'll all be my fault, and all 3,000 people in the house will blame me.
True. And that's the ride too. And you're like, okay, so the purpose of part of your job is truly that cue, that entrance. And man, you know it like the back of your hand. You could tell, and then in the moment you're like, is it? It is. Yeah, this is it. Like there's that one little moment of like, it's time. Did
I count 6 bars or did you count 4?
I know. Oh, part of what people maybe don't realize about pit musicians is that feeling of responsibility coupled with performance. You are performing, but then also the live nature of it. We're human beings. We're not robots. So you have to be able to have some enjoyment or it won't sound as good, right? Like there has to be some emotional element to the playing. I keep doing this. Obviously, I'm holding my air violin as I talk to you. But that feeling there is also couched in, okay, but don't mess up, right? So there's that fine line of, oh, enjoy yourself. The music, it's so great. And then stay on the train, like stay with the, and I find it's a really fascinating journey every time.
Why is live theater important at this point? And I'm celebrating all of my friends who are doing Zoom and streaming and finding really creative ways to perform in isolation and separation. Yet I'm not really that willing to participate in it very much myself. I'm waiting for the live stuff to come back. How do you feel about this? And why is live music different than recorded or streamed music?
It's a really great question. I think it honestly has to do with artistic expression and being able to sense one's expression live. It's unlike anything else. When you watch someone put their heart on stage and give it so willingly, whether they're in character, whether they're, it doesn't even matter what the show is, but when you are watching someone give of themselves in that capacity, it's unlike anything else. And I think about watching movies and seeing other things through a screen and how powerful those can be and how magical those can be. But there's something about the live element of performance in any capacity, musically, theatrically, that gets in your brain and your heart differently. It touches you in a way that cannot be replicated. And I would say, lovingly, I think people like you were just saying have done incredible creative workarounds and tried to say, hey, how can we maintain some sense of normalcy in our artistic community? But the idea that so much of what the artistic community is for that human to human connection, that human to human experience that you share. When you applaud for someone, when you cry for a character, I mean, that is just beyond comprehension in terms of a comparison. I can't think of a way to compare that. And I think about, musically, I've had the luxury of doing stuff on stage and off stage. And I feel that every time, regardless of where I am, that experience is a shared moment with the audience, with the actors, with the musicians. And even if you play dozens of shows, that one is different from the next one. It's never quite the same. And that's magical. It's magical. And I love things that are unable to be replicated. And I think that those feelings, those emotions that are tied to those instances, I miss them greatly. And whether I'm myself or whether I'm in character, I miss that feeling of knowing someone is connecting with what I'm sharing. And vice versa, as an audience member even, that shared moment is unlike anything else.
So wear your masks, people.
Exactly. Wear your mask, stay safe, and get ready to hopefully have more live musical experiences as soon as we're able to share them safely.
This was perfect.
I've just enjoyed chatting with you. I knew I would.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so glad to get to know you more. I think it's funny to also meet people in the pressurized circumstances of a pit, if I can be honest, because you get to know them, but you're also like, I don't know you, but I need to trust you. So we're going to do this and you're going to be there. And that idea of you doing these interviews prior to us coming together, we all know we're going to come together with, we're bringing, emotional baggage. Here we come. Yeah. And it's going to be okay. But the idea of us coming together and talking prior is only going to serve us well. It's only going to help build those connections sooner. And the fact that lots of female in the pit is so exciting.
Yes.
So exciting. And then also knowing that I think most of us know each other, if not everybody. That's a great starting point, but it's okay to not know each other either. But I'm thrilled at even the idea, the contemplation of having that experience again. So it's been great to chat with you. Yeah.
It's been great to chat with you too.